Yeah, it's obviously been an interesting one. Started off quite well, straight out of juniors, and you know, got up the rankings in a fairly speedy way, with a few injuries along the way, and then, yeah, sadly had to take some time out just before COVID, and then the COVID pandemic kind of extended that for me a bit. So it ended up as kind of 3 years between 2018 and mid 2021, between my last and first events back. So obviously that's quite a significant gap, and I dropped to the bottom of the rankings. My squash, I wasn't able to train and keep my standard in the way I would have hoped. So that's obviously affected my career, but I like to just look at it as something to learn from, and something that hopefully makes me stronger and makes me enjoy the journey that I'm on now a bit more, which I definitely am. I'm loving traveling again and being right in the thick of it, and hopefully keep pushing forward. I'm not going to say that there weren't days, weeks, months where I probably didn't think it was possible to come back, or I'd been out of the game for too long. So you definitely lose motivation, but it always goes in peaks and troughs, and in times like that, it's just the people around you, so the people that I'm closest to, that kept me going and picked me up, made me see the value in other things, other areas of life. So yeah, that's how I kept it going. And I always, through those people and through my own love of the sport and goals and willingness to achieve things in this sport, kept that hope and motivation that I was okay before, and I'll get back again, and things will be good again. And I look at where I am now. Obviously, things can improve, and we all want to do better than we're doing. But I can certainly be happy with the fact that I'm back on tour and enjoying my squash again. Yeah.
Back to the squash, you had 6 runner-up finishes before you got your first. Won in Guatemala.
Yeah.
What was that first winning feeling like?
Yeah, it was amazing. It was I think with every final that you lose, that sort of pressure builds up, and you start to think, what's going wrong? And I think that kind of built up on me in those finals, and I never quite, each one that went on, I never quite played to my potential, or, played to my ability, and that desperation to win kind of overcame my calmness on court. So to finally get over the line, and it was obviously tough conditions, tough opponent, was amazing. Great feeling, and yeah.
You lost to Alfredo the week before,
Yeah.
in the first Guatemala tournament. So what changed within that week to then beat 3-0 in the final?
I think my adaptation to the altitude, a few more red blood cells in the body. Yeah, I think quite a few people say with altitude, you've got to go 10 days before, or just, if you can't go 10 days before, just go really soon before your match. Otherwise, it's that in-between period, maybe a bit like jet lag, where it really hits you. And yeah, I was struggling physically in that match, and he's obviously a very good player anyway, and I think he lives at altitude as well, so that was a tough one. But then obviously to turn it around in such fashion a week or so later was really satisfying. Yeah. I'd love to be playing more big events. I'd love to be getting into them, but you obviously need to win matches and learn how to win, learn how to deal with tough situations, and that often comes in the later rounds of tournaments. Being able to back up 4 matches in a row, 5 matches in a row against tough opponents every day, you need to keep that involved in your game. So I think most players would agree a mix of those tournaments is ideal. And obviously once you get to the higher echelons of the game, you are just playing the big ones and going deep into those. So that's the ultimate goal, obviously. But yeah, for now, a mix of those tournaments is probably good for my process and improving me as a player, and that's what I'm most focused on.
What's the ultimate goal?
Obviously, to get to the top, to get to world number 1, you have to keep that in mind. So yeah, let's go for that.
Do you have a little target for the rest of the season to look at over the next year?
Yeah, I'd like to be, I suppose, I'm very much driven by the process, so just improving my certain areas of the game that I want to work on and seeing tangible improvements in those. Obviously, to see myself getting into the bigger events on a more regular basis via some big wins against players above me in the rankings, doing that a bit more regularly, that would be amazing. Yeah, so I see that as realistic, and that's something I want to do within the next 6 months.
Getting into bigger tournaments now, featuring silver and came up against SquashTV. What was that experience like? Probably someone who looked up to.
Yeah.
What was that like for you?
Obviously, incredible experience. Like I said before, mixing it with those seasoned pros is one of the best learning experiences you can have. And someone of his caliber, playing as well as he is in the last few months of this season, was incredible for me. Obviously, you know, hopefully I'll get plenty more of those and start to get my teeth into those matches a bit more and get some wins eventually. But yeah, incredible. And he's been a teammate of mine in PSL as well, and he's always helped me out with a little bit of advice, and here and there he's always been very open and helpful. So yeah, to get to play him in a big tournament was really special. Yeah.
What's been the biggest difference between Challenger Tour events and those World Tour events for you?
In terms of,
Experience?
I suppose, yeah, the World Tour tournaments, you know a bit more what you're going to get. Things are a bit easier, I suppose. Sometimes you play in Challenger Tour tournaments and you don't quite know about what the conditions are going to be like. You might have to travel a bit further away. It's all a bit more random, whereas the World Tour events, you know, you generally know a bit more about who you're playing. And yeah, it's just that kind of higher caliber feel to it, more exposure, and yeah.